Nido Qubein is a successful businessman, speaker, consultant, and educator. He's been delivering dynamic presentations for over 30 years to such leading companies as AT&T, Domino's Pizza, JCPenney, and Radio Shack. He's the author of more than a dozen books, including Stairway to Success and How to Be a Great Communicator. Enjoy this excerpt of Nido's presentation, How to Get Anything You Want.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. What a pleasure and a privilege to be in the midst of men and women who seek to have both success and significance. I've discovered one thing about life. Life does not give us what we need. Life almost always gives us what we deserve. And if we want to deserve more, we have to become more valuable. Someone defined value by simply the size of problems that you're capable of solving. So there are two pains in life you and I are going to suffer from, like it or not. One is the pain of discipline, one is the pain of regret. Those men and women who are disciplined in their life, who set their goals, who define them, who work them tenaciously and with great commitment, tend to achieve marvelous things. And others marvel at their achievements with both respect and a sense of dignity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what your life has been like. Let me just sort of set the stage for you. I believe that performers always focus on results. I believe that non-performers always focus on obstacles. Which are you? My father died when I was 6 years of age. Sometimes someone will ask me this question, Nido, if you could change one thing in your life, what might be the one thing you'd want to change in your life? My answer is always the same. I know that answer by heart. I'd say, my goodness, if I could change one thing in my life, I would have much rather have had a dad. A dad who would have seated me in his lap. A dad who would have taken me to the circus. A dad who would have thrown me a ball. Sang me a song, read me a book, or merely talked with me man to man. But you see, dear friend, that was not my fate. Have you discovered in your life that sometimes out of adversity can emerge abundance? My mother brought us up. Now, my mother had fourth grade education. I'd put her against 25 PhDs from the finest Ivy League schools of your own picking. Here's why. My mother had this postgraduate degree in a discipline you and I would call common sense. Someone said, you know the trouble with common sense? It ain't as common as it once was. My mother would work day and night to feed us and clothe us. 5 in the family, 3 boys, 2 girls, and to instill in us values for life and principles for living. For example, my mother would say to me, Nido, if you want to be a great man, you must first walk hand in hand and side by side with people who are great. You want to be happy? Hang around people who are happy. You want to be successful? Be in the midst of people who are successful. You want to be rich? Find out what poor people do and don't do it. You know, Aristotle said excellence is not an act, excellence is a habit. Excellence is a habit that you acquire through training and habituation. You can't be excellent Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and take Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday off. That wouldn't make any sense. You're either an excellent person or you're an ordinary person. Albert Hubbard once said, one machine can do the work of 50 ordinary people. But he said, no machine, oh no, no machine could ever do the work of one extraordinary person. My mother would say, always learn from the experts. Always learn from the experts. Because the experts have their knowledge in order. Have you noticed that when your knowledge is not in order, the more knowledge you have, the more confused you become by definition? The bookstores of America are packed, filled with books and information about financial planning, and yet 60% of America's households are one paycheck away from bankruptcy. How can that possibly be in the land of the free and the home of the brave? Dear friend, 80% of America's household, 80% of America's households have a net worth of under $100,000. Now, if you're 25, you're not supposed to have a lot of money. But if you've been working for 10, 15, 20 years, you should have saved some money, invested some money, and perhaps ridden some good times in the stock market. Now, here's the irony of all this, that immigrants in America, immigrants to America are not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times as likely to become millionaires as born Americans. I wonder why. Is it that they're smarter, work harder? I think not. I think it is because from their heart, from their soul, from their being, their beliefs, derives all that they are and all that they can therefore become. It is our beliefs that drive our behaviors that create our results. So if we don't like what we've got, we got to change our behaviors. And the only way we can change our behaviors is to revisit our belief system. What is it we really believe in? And so my mother said, learn from the experts, because the experts have already traveled through this journey. They have already done this kind of values clarification. They have already arrived at some conclusions of wisdom and insight about life and about living. My mother would say, listen, it's not the circumstances in which you find yourself, son, that define the person you become. It is always the choices you make in your life. I mean, 5 years from now, you and I are going to be exactly the same persons we are on this day, except for the choices you and I make beginning today and up to 5 years from now. I've made a few choices in my life. Some you may think are pedestrian choices. They're functional, they're even transactional, but sometimes they lead to a transformation in my own life, making me more effective, if you will, and more efficient, if you will. Choices like I no longer read the newspaper in the morning, I read it in the evening. In the morning I read books and I listen to audio materials that inspire my heart, nourish my brain, nurture my soul. Choices like I've gotten rid of my alarm clock and I've replaced it with an opportunity clock. And I beat that opportunity clock every day by 10 or 15 minutes. Think of it, fire alarm, burglar alarm, wake-up alarm. If you're still waking up to an alarm clock, get rid of it. It's killing your inspiration. Choices like, I have in my to-do list, of course, but I have my stop-doing list, too. To do is transactional. To stop doing, your stop-doing list leads you to your list called to be. I must be before I can do. Choices like I pay myself first, and I've paid myself first from the very first day I began to work. Now, I couldn't pay myself much, but it was $1 or $2 or $3. I have never to this day violated that rule. It's amazing what you can do when you pay yourself first. Choices like every single day of my life, I call 4 or more of my clients and prospects. Every single business day, I pick up the phone and I call 4 of my prospects or clients. Often just to say hello, often to find out how they're doing, often to give them some information of value. It's amazing how relational capital is the bridge that connects us with both success and significance in life. And choices like having my list of 100. If you came in my office, you will see that I have a list of 100 names. Actually, it's 168 names. These are my most important clients and prospects. And every single month, I ensure that I connect with each of them at least once. I've had to make choices in my life. I think the greatest choice I've had to make in my life is to understand that if you want to succeed in life, all you really have to do is define your goals, put them in writing, And then begin to look at everything that you do every day and assess if that is getting you closer to your goals. If it is, do more of it. If it isn't, do less of it. And you will find, just as a matter of course, life has a way of propelling us forward. My mother would say, look, all meaningful change comes from inside. If you want to change something about who you are, what you believe, what are you going to accomplish, change from within. I've discovered in life that the only person in society who really welcomes change is a baby in wet diapers. For the rest of us, we don't want to change until the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of changing. Isn't that sad? You know, for the timid in our society, change is always, always frightening. You know, for the comfortable in our society, change is always, always threatening. But for the confident amongst us, change, my friend, change is opportunity.